Stand by to launch FanStream Sports.
3, 2, 1. Let's start.
Hello, sports fans. Welcome to FanStream Sports. Nothing but pure sports. This is the JP Show.
JP, it's so good to hear you back on the air.
Stand by. Now, here's JP.
Oh, a hearty good morning to all of you. And while in Tampa Bay, they are not rejoicing. My co-host today, IndyCar Timm, in Dallas is still, sports crying. Is that what you called it? Sports crying for the Rangers. First ever World Series title. They get knocked off the list, and there's only 5 of us goobers left that have never won the World Series. So congratulations to you, my friend, on a big Rangers win last night. Good for you.
Thank you, JP. It only took the franchise 63 years. Of course,
hope it doesn't take us that long.
I was going to say, yeah, you've got to wait another while if that's the case. Of course, you know, they started off as the Washington Senators as an expansion team in 1961.
Yes.
After the original Washington Senators that were there for 60 years moved to Minnesota to become the Twins. And they moved to Texas in 1972 when I was just a wee lad. And I was a wee lad, and since the age of about 5, I've been cheering for the Rangers. And
how about that?
Yeah, it's
everybody. Even though we're not Rangers fans here, although they beat us, and maybe that's a good thing. We can all definitely feel the emotion of something like this. We've been through our Super Bowls and our Stanley Cups. Not a World Series yet, but so congratulations. So you were watching the game. Tell us a little bit about where you watched the game last night. Before we get to the Bucs and all that stuff, guys, we got that coming up rather quickly.
Yeah. I won't bore everybody with Rangers talk too much, but it is a World Series, so I mean, it's national news.
Yes.
So I went to this place called Texas Live, which is a big entertainment venue right in the entertainment district. For those that don't know, the Cowboys AT&T Stadium and the Rangers Globe Life Field, literally across a parking lot from each other, like many of the major cities do. And right in between, there's this huge place called Texas Live. It's a huge indoor bar with other bars and themed bars attached to it. Or you can hang out in just this huge, massive 2-story bar. And they've got the biggest, they're like AT&T Stadium TVs, right? Like the Jumbotron over the field.
God, yeah.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
And I've got some video. I was hanging out with Derek Holland, former Ranger great. Derek Holland watching the game. And
nice.
He took some video and sent it to me of us hanging out there. So it was pretty cool, man. Again, I've been waiting my whole life. I went through 2010 and 2011 when they lost to the Giants, and then of course against Bruce Bochy and the Giants, and then they lost in 2011 in Game 7 to the Cardinals with the Nelson Cruz miss against the wall in right field.
Yes.
But that is all erased now because we have a World Series.
You got that moment on that you captured to show it to the folks?
Yeah, you want to see it now?
Yeah, this is the moment of the win, the winning pitch, the winning everything. Here we go.
In your 63rd season.
How high? That looks like it's 50 feet high.
Oh no, it's huge. Yeah, it's way up there, and I'm getting goosebumps and sports crying all over again watching that. But I'm just glad I wasn't the guy that had to clean up the confetti.
Gee, yeah, no shit. Wow,
but dude, it was an amazing experience. I mean, I've been through all the Super Bowls, of course, with the Cowboys in the '90s, and I've been through, the Mavericks in 2011. But man, never have I experienced anything like this. It was just incredible.
That's awesome, and congratulations for having an owner who will spend money on real players like Corey Seager and Marcus Semien. And, there'll be some misses like Jake DeGrom and some other guys. But, I put that out last night and still got pushback from people like, oh, well, Jake DeGrom was not a good investment. I'm like it's your money, dude.
Yeah, who cares?
It's not your money.
They get credit for trying.
At least they're trying. You're going to hit on some and you're going to miss on some. But you're trying. You're taking the money that you make as a baseball team and putting it back into the team, pay the players to win the title. Shocking development.
And by the way, Tampa Bay Rays fans, this is what investing $500 million in your middle infield will get you.
Exactly.
In Seager and Simeon. $500 million in those
you overpaid for them. It's not your money. Well, actually, it is your money. If you go to the games and you watch the games on TV, it is your money. And most of it goes into Stu's pocket instead of onto the field, like he always said it would.
Yeah.
And the $500 million that's sitting in the other bank account, according to the lawsuit, sworn testimony, is sworn reason to say that's where the money goes, not back into the ball club, not onto the field. And by the way, why can't we have nice things like that? Why can't we have a Texas Live? Why can't we build a battery like that? Oh, but JP, we're building that in St. Pete. Great. Where 2/3 of the market can never get to it unless we drive, an hour and a half over or whatever.
Oh, and by the way, Globe Life Field also at capacity as they had a watch party inside the stadium.
Capacity. So they filled the place. Not even did they charge money for the tickets?
No parking charge, no tickets charge. Everything was free to get in. Concessions were open. Obviously, those weren't free, beer and all that. But capacity at the stadium.
How about
65,000 seats?
Yeah. Tampa Bay, we got to be better, man. We have got to be better. Again, and I have a hard time blaming the fans because of the way this ownership group has treated the fans for so long. And now that ownership group expects people to go out, on a Tuesday afternoon, with $200. Yes, there were some $30 tickets upstairs. I get it. But most of the tickets at $150 on a Tuesday afternoon, we're told 48 hours before the game. And we're supposed to go out there and pack the place. And if we don't, we're crappy fans. And we're supposed to pour the money back into an owner's pocket who doesn't give a rat's ass about it and blames the fans and tells us we're not a major league market and all this crap. And we're supposed to, no, I can't blame the fans. Can't do it. But my point is most every other major city has an LA Live, a Texas Live, a battery like in Atlanta. They're able to build these things because they don't have owners like us. This is not Hillsborough County's fault. This is not St. Petersburg's fault. This is Stu Sternberg's fault. It always has been. It always will be. And that's always been the problem. And that's not Hillsborough doesn't have any money. It's not, St. Pete is dragging their feet. It's always been Stu Sternberg has not negotiated in good faith or truthfully with anyone. And he lies about putting the money back into the team. That's a bold-faced lie. And I don't care how many executives from Tampa Bay come knocking on my door and tell me not to stop saying Stu Sternberg is a liar, because the evidence suggests quite the opposite. So, again, I'm nothing personal against the dude at all. I'm a baseball fan, and I'm a journalist, well, of some sort. Used to be a journalist. Now I'm a talk show host / journalist. And we're supposed to hold the powerful accountable. We're supposed to point out when they're not putting the money back into the team instead of writing articles that suggest the opposite. And when the evidence clearly suggests that he's not doing that.
Right.
So, I think it's fair for us to point it out. I'm not going to beat the dead horse, but as we sit here and watch the Rangers celebrate, we must understand what it takes to win a World Series. And that's a committed owner that's going to put the money back into the team. And we don't have that. We've never had that. We've got great baseball acumen, and it's great to win 100 games, and it's great to get into the playoffs. That's all fantastic. But, I'm sorry. We want more. We want more. I'd rather have a few down seasons and then some up seasons where you're actually truly competing, not, spending $75 million on a payroll. That's not going to get it done. John Smoltz has come on this program many times and told you all that, not just me. So congrats to the Rangers. What I know they paid Simeon 7 years, $175. They paid Seager 10 years, $325. They paid, I'm not sure what they paid DeGrom. They paid Evaldi 2 years, $34 million.
36, I think.
Or $36 million.
Yeah.
So they went out and paid a lot of different players. And although, at times during the regular season, they didn't look like great investments, look what Corey Seager did in the playoffs.
MVP.
Yeah, MVP with 6 home runs.
Yeah, it's World Series MVP, the second position player ever to win MVP with 2 different teams, up there with Reggie.
Yeah.
4th player ever to win 2 MVPs.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Tremendous.
I mean, was it worth the money? Hell yeah, it was worth the money.
And by the way, it's not your money.
Yeah, I didn't pay him a dime.
That's what I don't get. Rays fans act like it's their money. Oh, we don't want to spend on.
Who's we, right? Like
we.
Ray Davis, the managing partner, is 85 years old. He was, and he's relatively new. He's only been in the league for, I don't know, 10, 15 years. I say that's relatively new as an owner, but he just got tired of losing. He's all, he knows his time on this earth is limited. Yeah. He told Chris Young, he's like, you know what? I don't care what it costs. I want a World Series before I go. And you know what? Spend whatever you think you need. And that's what they did. And you know what? They're still making money.
Yeah.
That's a novel concept.
Yeah. By the way, they're still making a profit because they're winning and punching playoff tickets and making cash. Yeah. It takes money to make money. Right. So listen, and in baseball, it's impossible to lose money. Almost impossible. Yeah. Even if you spend to the average payroll, which the Rays have never sniffed, never been over $80 million on an opening day payroll. And the average is at 144, 145, never even sniffed it. So, to me though, it's all about ownership, right? Yeah. Ownership, the 3 most important things in professional sports. And when you have a committed owner like that, look at Jeffrey Vinnick, and people, you can look at the Glazers. The Glazers did everything, opened the checkbook for Tom Brady. Everything that he wanted, he got. And you want 100 coaches, Bruce, yeah, go ahead. Get whoever you want to sign. Whatever. Go get it. We'll pay the bonuses up front. We'll worry about it later. That's great ownership. You get it, and you got a Super Bowl out of it. Same thing with Jeffrey Vinnick. Same thing with Ray Davis. This is what it takes. And I just hope at some point Major League Baseball will get this guy out of here. We get local ownership in here. We build our Tampa Live, whether it's going to be downtown Tampa or the fairgrounds or wherever. Let's freaking go. I want that. Can you show that one more time? I want to see that one more time. Yeah. I just want you people to soak this in.
And by the way, this is only about half of the inside of the facility, by the way. Like, you can't even see the other side. So it's
in their 63rd season.
And there's something about baseball, fans are just, it's 162. You got it.
In their 63rd season.
Your malfunction is rubbing it in to Rays fans. All right. Enough. I can't take no more. Yeah, that is, as Richie P says, that is hype as hell. And it's fun, and we want some of that. All right. We're going to move on to, by the way, setting up the show today, we have Gary Koch coming on today. Sorry, we're going to get my Facebook up and running here today. Gary Koch's coming on at 10:30. He's going to, we'll talk a little Ryder Cup since we haven't had him on since Ryder Cup, the PGA Tour season coming up. And they just christened the new Rogers Park short course out there.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. What?
Hang on. I don't know what's happening right now.
What happened?
Oh, my God.
What happened?
Hang on.
What happened? What happened? Did we not start the show? Did we not?
It broke my computer.
Your computer's broken?
Give me a second.
All right. It broke your computer.
Give me a second.
Well, it appears that everything's working fine. But maybe not on your end. Well, while Tim gets that straightened out, I'll continue to let you know what's going on with the show today. Gary Koch's going to join us at 10:30. We'll talk some golf, upcoming PGA Tour season, what's going on with the PGA Tour, Live Golf, etc. Valspar coming up. We got obviously tickets are going on sale for that. It's a good time for Valspar. Scott Carter will join us at 11 o'clock. FloridaGators.com. Our Jeeves Law Group Florida Gators report. So we will do that at 11 o'clock. And then Corey Long will join us at 11:30. And we will talk some Buccaneers with him. He covers the Bucs, covers the Bolts, and big on college football as well for Walter Football. So all things Corey Long, all things football we will talk about. All right. Just want to Richie P, everything good? You can hear me? Everything good? Guys in the comment section want to make sure I'm just not talking to the
Yeah, no, we're good.
Okay, good.
Well, I was downloading that Baker video that you wanted. At the same time, I'm trying to play that. Plus, my internet was going sketchy, and so everything was combining in my computer at once. I couldn't turn things off. I couldn't turn things on.
I got you. We were trying to do too much. And
yeah.
My apologies.
But I got the Baker video.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll get to that a little bit later on.
Yeah.
All right. So I wanted to get to a couple other things vis-a-vis the Buccaneers. Should we share the Bobby Knight stuff though? I think I might just for fun.
You have to, yeah.
Yeah. So, Bobby Knight, as many of you know, passed yesterday, 83 years old. And, a very polarizing figure, I think is fair to say. I had 2 or 3 run-ins with Mr. Knight during NCAA tournaments. This is back when Florida State was really good. I was doing the radio, FSU radio, and we played Indiana, I think twice in the tournament. And so, it was our wonderful privilege to go to press conferences and ask legitimate questions and get belittled and shouted down by this bully of a man. And so I sent Tim the tease, portion, the kind of rundown of the show. And I was like, biggest a-hole on earth dies. And he actually put that out on a graphic, and
because I agreed. I mean, I thought it was a good tease.
It's like one of those things. If it's in print, maybe some other people will see it, and people can't handle that, and some. And I know, Dick, our good friend Dick Vitale, watches the show, has a lot of respect for Bobby Knight. Dick knows, as many know, Tim Brando and many in the business, some friends of mine, that Bobby had, a few different sides to him, and a lot of it was not pretty. And I never took it personal because, that's just who these people are. But he was not a pleasant man to deal with. And if you were in his inner circle, it was great. And he was a brilliant basketball coach, but just a horrible bully of a man on so many levels. And, to his players, to his non-players, to the media, to everybody else. We'll give him his due as far as winning games and what have you. But I would say that, a lot of this stuff that has happened in the last 50 years, the wokeism, I'm not down with, but a lot of it is progress. Let's just say really good progress in a lot of different ways. And I'm not talking about the civil rights. Obviously, that was long overdue, folks, long overdue. But I'm talking more about political correctness that has gone too far, but there was a lot of political correctness that needed to be done. We don't need to treat women the way we treated women. We don't need to treat minorities the way we treated minorities. We don't need to treat the handicapped the way we've treated the handicapped. There's so many things that we've gotten better at, right? And so many things people like Bobby Knight never, ever did. Never really got there. And those type of people don't need to be in charge of anything anymore, anywhere. And that's who Bobby Knight was. Anger issues, a bully, knew his basketball, no question about that. But a coach like him would not survive in this day and age, and that's a good thing. That's a good thing. You don't need to be hitting your players. You don't need to be intimidating your players. You don't need to be a bully to get your point across. So that's about all I'm going to say about Bobby Knight. But yes, one of the biggest a-holes on earth, in my opinion. Many people loved him. They were maybe saw a different side of him. Not me. We won't be celebrating that his life and accomplishments here. All right, on to the Bucs.
Greatest quote to me, because I covered him a little bit at Tech back when he was at Tech.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you did.
So our paths crossed a couple of times, and he was never overly rude to me. He was more sarcastically rude to me. because he's like, who is this guy? And at the same time, he's giving me that attitude. I'm like, well, who are you? You're at Tech. Like, come on now. So I'm asking him some questions. I asked him about, I forgot I think they lost to Texas. And I asked him kind of an obscure question. It was my fault. And so he kind of looks at me right in the eye in front of everybody in the gangbang there. And he goes, and yes, that's what it's called in the reporter pool, the gangbang.
Yes.
He looked around, he goes, let's talk about something that has some significance, if in fact there is anything. So I was like, continued my question. He looked around the room and he goes, maybe you didn't hear what I said. Let's talk about something that has some significance, if in fact there is anything. And he looked around. Nobody said a word. He goes, no. All right, we're done here. So
there you go.
Down the press conference.
Well, is he basically saying that college basketball has no significance? I think that's what he's saying.
He didn't like that they lost.
Well, exactly. I would have piped up and said, well, I guess I shouldn't ask you about college basketball because that's pretty insignificant in the whole. That's of course, when he did that to me, I did not, because I'm just an idiot and I can't help myself. Right. I had to go back at him. And of course, that just stoked the fire even more and got him to walk off the stage. So I did that. I got that going for me, which is good.
Great.
Yeah. No, I was at we were up in, I believe it was Louisville, Kentucky for a tournament, and FSU was a high seed. Indiana was a high seed, so they were going to they would play each other in the second round, and it was, I think maybe it was the 3-6 or whatever in the second round. Anyway, it was pretty obvious that these two teams were going to meet the next time, right? Like I think Indiana was like a 1 or 2 seed. They were playing a 14 or a 15, and who they beat by like 40 points. Same thing with FSU, very similar. And so it was an obvious question not before the game, but after the game. So I was like, so coach, obviously I'm sure you've done some advanced scouting. What are you'll be playing Florida State in the next round. What are your thoughts on, their size and the way they, the intensity of which they play defense, something to that effect. And he goes, who? I said, Florida State, your next opponent. We don't look ahead. We never look ahead. I don't know a damn thing about Florida State. I haven't looked at one bit of film about them. I don't even know why you would ask me about them. We just got done with this game. Why would I even be thinking about Florida State? And I said, because obviously and I said, well, coach, you were heavily favored to win this. You're a pretty, you're a pretty solid basketball coach. That's what I said. You're a pretty solid basketball coach. So I would think you would have some foresight and maybe some advanced scouting and would have some idea of who you're playing in the next round. And he says, who the hell do you think you are?
How many Bobby Knight stories there are just like that? I mean,
And I said, I'm a reporter asking a legitimate question, sir. Would you please answer the question in some way so I can get out of here?
That sounds like a Greg Popovich exchange, too, to be honest with you.
And then he started laughing because I think he actually respected that I fired back at him. Yeah. He just started laughing, and then he just got up and left. and it is, as an addendum to the story, like 2 hours later, after we get done with our 11 o'clock live shot, we're driving. It's got to be 1:30 in the morning, right? And we're driving back to the hotel. And there was this long stretch of highway, we're back, from the arena to the hotel where we were at. And I look, we're driving down the road. It wasn't an interstate. It was like, but a 4-lane, major road. And I'm looking at, I'm like, as we're driving, I'm like, is that Bobby Knight? And so we went past him, drove back around, and this is like 1:30 in the morning. He's probably hammered, and he's like just staggering down the sidewalk. It's got to be 40 degrees outside. He's got just his little red sweater on, and he's just walking alone back to the hotel. And I go to my photographer, I go, should we offer him to give him a ride?
Oh, how great would that be?
Yeah. So, and then we're like, and he was like, no, man, no, you already pissed him off once.
You could have redeemed yourself, though.
I know. I think he would have got in the car. You're that asshole that asked that question. We'd probably had a good old time and maybe a few beers. It'd be a different story today, but whatever. He was one of one, no question about that. All right. So I wanted to get into a little bit of the Bucs stuff here as they get set to take on the Houston Texans, a team you cover. And I was reading last night from our friend Greg Allman that They already have 4 offensive linemen on injured reserve. Like they have no offensive linemen.
Everybody is out. Their number 1 draft pick from last year, Kenyon Green from Texas A&M, has been out all season. He got hurt late last year. And we talked about it a little bit on Tuesday too. You know, you've got a rookie quarterback. I don't care how good he's playing, how well he's playing, but they've got some scrubs playing offensive line right now. Some guys, I had to go look up who they were that they signed off some practice squads, and this is
their offensive line. I mean, that's crazy. Their pass defense, 23rd in pass defense, 25th in interception percentage, 27th in third down defense. I mean, if you can't beat this team, who's on their 8th, 9th, 10th, and 11th offensive linemen, and you can't get a pass rush on these guys, there's just no excuse for the Bucs to lose this football game. And if they do, it's like, just forget it, cash it in. Even at 3-5 and maybe 2 games out, you'd have to just cash it in. That's ridiculous. And
we talked about it a little bit Tuesday. This team's kind of playing over. I believe they're playing over their heads right now. They're not a horrible team like they've been in previous years, but they're not a 6 or 7 win team this year. That's just not going to happen. CJ Stroud, they're going to get some more game film on him. Defenses are going to catch up with him. I don't think he's going to play well at all against the Bucs defense. Well, I say that if the Bucs play like they can play defense, I don't see them. I don't see Stroud going off. He's not going to go off through the air. They're not going to have a rushing game. Dameon Pierce might get 50 yards for the whole game with that offensive line. They're going to have to rely on Stroud's feet and, his arm for some short dump-off passes, some high percentage passes. You're not going to be able to throw it down the field, but this should be a Bucs win. I mean, there's no question.
The Bucs should eat in this one. If there's one thing I look at when handicapping games that I don't think gets paid enough attention to, it's offensive line injuries. And if you've got 2 starters out, your chances of winning and covering the spread are minimal at best. I think the numbers, something in the 15 to 20%. That's how much of a difference it makes if you're down 2 starters or more on the offensive line. So down 4 starters of an already bad football team, you should have no chance whatsoever. That's why they lost to the Panthers last week. If you want to know why they lost to the Panthers last week, that's why they lost to the Panthers last week. So if you can't beat this team, God help you.
Yeah, Laramie Tunsil's the big one. He's the anchor on the offensive line, and then Fant.
He's the only healthy one, right?
Yeah, and they're all on the injury report.
Yeah,
it's whether they play or not, they're all on the injury report. Fant was limited in practice yesterday. We'll find out today where he is, but Tunsil's not practicing. He's not going to play.
Oh my God! So he's out too.
Yeah.
Oh Jesus.
Yeah, dude, they're all out, dude. It's bad.
Imagine, Buck fans, if our entire offensive line was out, what would you be in full panic mode, right? Well, that's where the Texans are. So if the Bucs can't win this game,
with a rookie quarterback.
And if when they win, everybody's going to be like, "Oh, this is a championship team." Let's just get the win.
And by the way, a rookie head coach. By the way, too.
This just in. All right, we're going to take our first break. When we come back, Gary Koch is going to join us. He has obviously been a tremendous broadcaster, Hall of Fame broadcaster, but he's brought something to the Tampa Bay area that is going to be a legacy for him and something that we will all enjoy for years to come. It's the short course at Rogers Park. We're going to talk about that. We're going to get his thoughts on what happened at the Ryder Cup, vis-a-vis USA Golf, and much, much more. Gary Koch coming up next. We're brought to you by the Jeeves Law Group, JEEVES lawgroup.com. If you've been involved in an accident, they are the folks to go to, folks. Big enough to fight the big insurance company, small enough to call you back when you call them. So go to their website, JEEVES lawgroup.com. Give them a call. Tell them JP sent you. Back in 3. Stay with us.
Have any old coins sitting around the house? Well, the Gold and Diamond Source will purchase a variety of different types of coins and bullion. Their gold buying program includes sterling silver, silver, platinum, and watches. They also accept unusual pieces that other jewelry stores do not, such as gold bars and sterling silver flatware. The list of items they do accept is far more extensive than those they don't. So check it out. While you're there, you can check out the largest collection of any family-owned jewelry store in the country, especially with summer coming to an end. The holidays are right around the corner. Never too early to start your holiday shopping, especially if you're planning on getting engaged or have any birthdays or anniversaries coming up. Come on in and find out what buying jewelry should be like with an expert staff of gold and diamond jewelry enthusiasts. And the best part, they treat you like family. And if you're worrying about price, don't. The Gold and Diamond Source has something for everyone's budget. They even have a layaway. If you stop in and get your favorite piece now, you can have it paid off by Christmas. Plus, you can even finance your purchase with 0% interest for up to 5 years, and you can get a $5,000 diamond for only $83 a month. It's the greatest folks in the world, Julie and Steve Weintraub, the Gold and Diamond Source, 3800 Olmerton Road, always online at thegoldendiamondsource.com.
JP here for my good friends at Italiano Insurance, and they did it again. Once again, Italiano Insurance stepping up with the best customer service. I was in a bind. My old insurance company, my auto insurance, jacked up my rates, so I called Charity at Italiano Insurance, and she stayed till 9:30 at night until she got my insurance done. And guess what? She searched all these companies for me. I didn't do the work. She did. Saved me $1,000 on my annual premium. $1,000, folks. That's real money. And that's what you get at Italiano Insurance. Great customer service. And here's another note for you, by the way, with hurricane season up. 40% of people in Florida are underinsured. That means if you have something happen during a hurricane and you need replacement costs, you're going to get 40% less than you deserve. Can't let that happen. Call the folks at Italiano Insurance and get them to help you out in both those regards. They will save you money and keep you insured properly. That's 813-877-7799. Great folks in the community, been doing it for over 60 years. Italiano Insurance, 813-877-7799.
All right. Well, Fitz the mortgage guy did it again. A listener heard his ad, was going to another big bank, but called Scott Fitzgerald at American Mortgage Services of Tampa, and Fitz saved him $618 on his monthly payment. Are you kidding me? Folks, that's big money. Rates are going up, they're going down, they're going all over the place. Scott will shop your loan and save you lender fees and get the best rates. Email him, scott@amstampa.com, or call 813-294-7595. That's Fitz the mortgage guy. Lots of stuff going on right now, and these rates are going all over the place. You need somebody knowledgeable in the market that will work hard for you and get you the best deal. That's my man, Scott. He's done 3 loans for me, done thousands of loans for local folks here, works with a lot of the coaches and players in the area. He's the guy. 813-294-7595, or go to scott@amstampa.com.
Let's go. Right now, back to the show with JP.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by the great folks at the Jeeves Law Group, Bay Area Modern Medical Center, Italiano Insurance, the Golden Diamond Source. We thank them all so very much. And now we want to welcome in a Tampa Bay treasure. He is a former NBC golf analyst, the Payne Stewart Award winner for 2023. He is the great Gary Koch. What's up, Gary? How are you, my friend?
JP, I'm doing well. Thank you. Enjoying this weather that's a little cooler finally, huh?
Have you gotten out and played golf in it yet? I wanted to get out and play today.
You should. It's actually getting to be good golfing weather. So happy to be here in Tampa.
Well, we were actually playing at Palm Beach this weekend in my big group, and one of the men's grill conversations was, hey, let's get a group to go on out to the Rogers Park short course. It's awesome. I know you did the dedication out there. You've raised money for this. You've done literally millions of dollars for the First Tee, whose initiative this was. Tell me about the ceremony, how everything turned out. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, well, it went great. It was Monday morning. We had the mayor there to do the ribbon cutting. Members from the Tampa Sports Authority, as well as First Tee and the YMCA, of which our First Tee chapter is affiliated. Had a great turnout, had close to 100 people there for the ceremony. Then Steve Smyers, who helped design the course with me. And I led a tour around for those who wanted to see the course and kind of get an understanding of why the holes look the way they do and how they should play. And it was a great day. Very good. And the course will open to the public beginning on Monday. So I think people will enjoy it. It's not your typical par 3 with a tee and a round green at the end. There's some shapes to them, a lot of character, and I think it's going to be fun to play, challenging at times, but it'll be great. Obviously, a wonderful asset for our first tee programming to be able to utilize for the younger kids.
Mm-hmm.
And then, I think it's going to be a nice community asset as well. I think people from the public will enjoy playing it.
I think it's absolutely wonderful. And as you mentioned, it's more than just golf, obviously, at the first tee. So let's dig into that a little bit. And the programs that are out at Rogers Park have helped so many, literally thousands of youngsters learn the game of golf, but also learn a lot about life. So tell us a little bit about how the short course plays into the overall first tee initiatives out there.
Well, yeah, JP, what happened basically during the COVID pandemic, and, golf became really popular again because it was an outdoor activity. We were finding that several of the facilities that we were doing programming, it was getting very difficult to get the younger players out on the golf course. I mean, you talk to 7 to, maybe 11 or 12-year-olds. A lot of times, we would take them out on the course, go to the 150 marker and let them tee off from there and try to play. Well, when the courses were crowded with a lot of paying customers, that became very difficult to do.
Right.
So this short course is going to allow us to not only instruct the kids about golf, but allow them to play on a course that fits their abilities. And, they'll learn all the great things about the game and how to play a little bit, the rules, and so forth and so on. We've got our first programming there this Saturday. We have a morning session from 9 to 12, and then an afternoon session from 2 to 5. Maximum in each session was 36 kids. We're full in the morning, and have about 2 spots open in the afternoon. So, obviously the need was there for the younger kids to have a place, and this short course should provide them that opportunity.
And Gary, this has been a long time coming, and not just for the short course. And obviously this takes money, and a lot of people may not know this, but you've brought in, none other than the great Jack Nicklaus, David Faraday, so many to do these first tee fundraisers. I mean, the biggest names in golf have been part of this. You guys have raised a ton of money. So just, take some time to thank some people and just tell the story. I know you're a humble man and you don't like talking about yourself, but this is one hell of a job that you guys and the community has done here to bring this to fruition.
Yeah, it really has been quite a success story, JP, to be honest. Our executive director, Ian Baxter, came to the chapter about 12 years ago. And Troy Fowler, who is part of the Triad Foundation here in town that does a lot of great work with donating funds to a number of charitable organizations, mainly involving kids, came to me and said, look, we've got a chance here now to maybe, elevate our chapter here of the first tee. Literally 12 years ago, with our association with the YMCA was funding the deficit. We were running a deficit at our first tee chapter of about $100,000 a year.
Wow.
Troy came to me. We got with Ian Baxter. We decided we were going to create a Friends of the First Tee group, which we did. We had about 30 supporters to start with. That helped tremendously. We started having an annual fundraising event out at Old Memorial and had the support of Bob Basham and Chris Sullivan, which was great.
Mm-hmm.
We then decided to move on to try to create a board of directors. And again, Chris Sullivan and Bob Basham stepped up as the co-chairs and of our first board of directors. That group now numbers over 50. We have over 50 members of our board of directors. Just a lot of people that love golf, love the fact that we're influencing kids. We're providing kids opportunities. We have an advisory board that's another 50 or so people. And we even have a junior advisory board, which is probably numbering in the 40s. So a lot of very loyal supporters, that really come up and step up at our fundraising events. We have, golf tournament on Memorial. We have one at Avila. We have one at Rogers Park. And then, of course, our big one is the gala that we have every April. 350 people. It's sold out every year. This year we had Annika Sorenstam as our guest. You mentioned Jack Nicklaus has been here, David Faraday, Mike Tirico. We've had some great guests. It's a wonderful evening. A lot of live auction items that raise a lot of money and a lot of very generous people. But through their support, we were able to create this short course. We made a commitment as a board last year to give out at least $100,000 a year in college scholarships.
That's awesome.
To members of our first T chapter. This year we gave out just over $120,000 in scholarships. So, that is something that we will continue in the future. That is very important. We love the fact that, the younger kids, are introduced to these 9 core values, which if they follow will help them succeed in life, but also the opportunity to further their education is extremely important to all of our supporters. Yeah. And we're very proud of that.
Those are amazing numbers, really. And just one last question on this is, do you have a one personal story of a kid that has really benefited from this program and made, because I know there are dozens and dozens, if not hundreds and thousands of these stories in the first tee, but is there one that comes to mind that's near and dear to your heart?
Yeah, there's a young man that actually went to King High School, where I went to high school some 50 plus years ago. He played on the golf team there at King High. Very smart kid. Had been accepted to the University of Florida. Needed some help scholarship wise. We were able to provide that. Graduated with a degree in environmental engineering.
Nice.
Already has a job. Has gotten his MBA. And he wrote me a letter just saying thank you very much for allowing me to finish school debt free. And my goal now is to be successful enough to continue what you guys have started here at our First Tee chapter, and that's helping other First Tee members to be successful. So
that's what it's all about, man.
When you get that kind of note from a 21-year-old who just finished college, you're doing some things right.
Yeah, you know what? There's a lot of crap going on in the world today, Gary, but what you guys are doing, and old school values still play, and they work, and that's living proof right there. So great stuff, and congrats to you and Troy and the whole group. It really is a tremendous accomplishment. All right, let's get to the other stuff now. The Ryder Cup. Disappointing on many levels for any United States golf fan. It was great theater. It was great to watch. I love watching Ryder Cup. And congrats to the European team. But of course, this is Sports Talk Radio. We got to dump on somebody, and that would be the U.S. team. Short of Patrick Cantlay, who kept them in it, just breathing the whole way. That was a disaster. That was not good. There's reports of dissension on the team. Your overall thoughts on what you witnessed?
Well, as a fan of U.S. golf and having covered Ryder Cups, this was the first one I'd missed since 1997. Doing them with NBC.
Right.
It was very disappointing. No question about it. Reasons why, well, I think you can list a number of things. One, and I did a function with Davis Love here about 2 weeks ago. And, Davis is a 2-time Ryder Cup captain and a multi assistant captain. He was an assistant captain over there in Rome. And he said it, and he admitted to it. He goes, look, it's time for new blood. They've got this kind of good old boys network going. They recycle, the assistant captains to become captains that then go back to the assistant captains. And look, they're all good guys. They all have deserved their chance to be involved in the Ryder Cup. But the good old boy system, kind of eliminated Lucas Glover from being a captain's pick. It eliminated Keegan Bradley from being a captain's pick. And look, those two guys deserve to be on the U.S. team. I mean, all you got to do is look at the stat. They decided to wait until after the Tour Championship to make the wild card picks. The captain's picks. Right. Well, the reason they did that was to wait to see who was playing well. Well, who was playing better than Lucas Glover at that point? He won 2 of the last 3 events that were played.
Right.
And he doesn't get picked. And Keegan Bradley played great all year long and improved his putting tremendously, won 2 tournaments. And, he's played on the Ryder Cup team before, and he was great. He was passionate about it and would love to have been on the team. You need to take the best players, not the guys that are part of the good old boys club.
Yeah.
So that would be a start. Then you run into the controversy about the no hat and the hat, want to be paid and so forth and so on, which is nothing new. I remember, 1999 when Ben Crenshaw was the captain at Brookline, there were David Duvall and Mark O'Meara and several others, made noise about not getting paid. And the PGA of America came up with the idea of giving each individual $200,000 to send to a charity or charities of their choice. So, to say you're not getting paid is a little bit of a misleading statement. The other is virtually every one of these players in their contracts that they have, their sponsorship deals with equipment companies or clothing companies or whatever, have a clause in there that if you make a Ryder Cup team, you get bonus.
Right.
You get paid more money. Well, you're getting paid indirectly.
Yep.
The argument that they're not getting compensated for their intellectual properties. What? I mean, come on. You can't take 1 week out of the year to play for your country and your teammates and just enjoy the experience. I mean, I was fortunate to play on a couple of Walker Cup teams, which is the amateur version of the Ryder Cup. And, there was nothing better. I mean, you had your teammates, you were standing on the first tee, being introduced as representing the United States of America. There's nothing better for a golfer than that. And, for these guys to say that they need to be compensated, look, they are compensated beyond belief for not only how they play, but a lot of other things as well. So to think they can't go 1 week without worrying about how much money they should make is pretty sad to me.
Gary, do you think that the Ryder Cup and the international play that the American-born players are involved in, do you think it means more to the European players than it does to the American players?
I think it certainly did for quite some time. And in that, you have to remember that the structure of the Ryder Cup is different for both sides. So from the U.S. side, it's the PGA of America that benefits from the Ryder Cup. They're the main source of income and where it goes. On the European side, it is actually the European Tour, now called the DP World Tour, that benefits from the monies that are made at a Ryder Cup. So there was no doubt, back in the certainly 80s, 90s, 2000s, there was a need for the European players to be totally vested in this endeavor because it meant success for their entire tour, which is not the case here in the United States. The other thing that's interesting to me is, a lot of the European players now live in the United States or are based here in the United States, play a lot on the PGA Tour, but yet they seem to still have that sense of this is something that is important to us. This is something, this is a rallying cry for us. Great example. And again, I mean, you can theorize till the cows come home, but 2 weeks before the Ryder Cup, all 12 of the European players played in one of the biggest events on the, DP World Tour, the BMW International event there in London. All 12 of them played. We had 2 guys, Dustin Thomas and Max Homa, who played in the event in Napa 2 weeks before the Ryder Cup. They were the only 2 out of the 12 who played any competitive golf for a 5-week stretch before the Ryder Cup.
That's crazy.
Well, you would never prepare for a major championship by not playing for 5 straight weeks.
Nope.
Right?
Nope.
I mean, of course they wouldn't. No. So
there's the answer to that question.
Right. So it was obvious to me who it meant more to.
Yeah.
It meant more to the Europeans that they were going to make the effort to play in this event and get tournament ready. And, there's the old saying that Bobby Jones said many, 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 many years ago. There's golf and there's tournament golf. And the two are totally different. And you have to be, ready and mentally prepared and everything to play tournament golf. And I think it was just a classic example of our guys just weren't mentally there. And it showed.
Gary, is that on Zach Johnson, or is it just the individual players? They didn't want. I mean,
well,
it's my understanding that they all had invitations to play in that European event. They could have played if they wanted to and gone over there 2 weeks early, played in that event, been together for a couple of weeks.
Right.
Yeah. That was an option,
they
right?
Could have.
Yeah.
Right. They could have. Now, they did lead, Zach did take 9 of the 12 guys over there for, a scouting trip to the golf course, but it lasted 2 days. Now, how much are you going to learn, on a golf course in 2 days? Look, I know these guys are very talented and the caddies are very good at figuring stuff out and so forth and so on. But, you're talking about a golf course that a lot of the Europeans had played, numerous times in competition because the Italian Open was there. And, not to mention the assistant captains for Luke Donald, and Luke Donald himself had played the golf course. So, to me, my sense was there was a lack of commitment from the U.S. players.
Yep.
Agreed.
All right, Gary, let's look ahead before you go to this PGA Tour season. You mentioned Lucas Glover was just an amazing story at the end, and the emotion that went into some of those wins was just, I thought, one of the highlights of the season for me. But the usual suspects, maybe some new guys, some new blood coming up through. What do you see for this upcoming season? What are you excited about?
Well, obviously this young man that played for Europe.
Oh my God!
Has yet to play in a major championship, and he's already played on a Ryder Cup team. Is Ludwig Oberg, who played his college golf, at Texas Tech.
Yeah, I covered him at Texas Tech, Gary. He's a stud.
I know, and I mean, you watch him. He makes the game look easy. There aren't many players that do that. Obviously Rory McIlroy, when he's on, makes the game look easy. Tiger did, Jack did. Well, the little bit that I've watched this over guy, I mean, he makes the game look easy when he's on. So it's going to be fascinating to me to see, exactly what he does here in his first full year as a professional. There's some other good young players coming up. There always are. It's fascinating to me to always watch and see who, the successful college players, are they able to make that transition to the next level? Most of the time, yes, but sometimes it's not the case. And that's always something that I try to keep an eye on. We've got a young man who will be playing on the PGA Tour for the first time, who was a longtime member at Avila, Jimmy Stanger. His parents still live out there at Avila. Jimmy lived here in Tampa, grew up here in Tampa, now lives up in Ponte Vedra and plays and practices there at TPC Sawgrass. But he finished high enough on the Korn Ferry Tour points list to earn his PGA Tour card. So he'll be out there for the first time, and be fun to keep an eye on Jimmy. He's a great kid and a really good player.
Did Jackson make it? Jackson Suber?
No, he did not. He did just missed out. So he has full Korn Ferry Tour status again for next year. And I think he is going through, they do have a qualifying school that is going on, although there are only 5 spots available for the 150 guys that are going to make it to the final stage. So the odds are not great, but there is an opportunity. Yeah.
Well, Gary, always great to catch up with you. Thank you so much for your time. I know we went long today, but the Rogers Park stuff is amazing. Congratulations on that. And we look forward to hopefully catching up soon and playing a little golf out of Palmacia. Join us any Wednesday afternoon and Sunday afternoon. We got a couple of tee times. Come join us anytime.
All right. I'll be in touch.
All right. Thanks, Gary. The great Gary.
Take care.
All right. And I cannot wait to play that par 3. I've seen the video of it, and he's absolutely right. It's not the normal par 3s that you would play. It is unique, and it's a great piece of ground out there at Rogers Park. If you've never been, it's right on the Hillsborough River. It's beautiful. So go check it out and pay homage to a lot of great works and fundraising that went into doing that deal. So good stuff.
By the way, Ludwig Aberg, the favorite to win the Worldwide Technology down in Mexico this weekend. He could get his first tour win.
Oh, wow. I didn't even know that's right. We're starting up again.
Yeah, FedEx Fall's the tour's year round. They got the new FedEx Fall thing for the guys outside of the top 50, to qualify for the tour. And it's fun to watch. These guys are competing for tour cards, so they're playing for something. It's a lot of fun to watch.
I got to show you something. So while I'm doing that interview with Gary, in my home studio here, this smell is just wafting through the studio. I'm like, Ashley's cooking something. I don't know if you could look at this. She just made me.
Holy crap!
This beautiful egg.
Huevos rancheros.
Yes, and it's beautiful Gouda cheese on toast.
Okay, she's gonna have to send some of that here. Give me a plate right here. I want to play.
Yeah, I know it's what this horrible life I live here. Come here and say hello to the folks.
Say hello to the folks. There she is.
Look at this gorgeous woman.
I need a plate right here. Just put it on
she can't hear you, but she's like, can I get some? Yeah. Can we ship some of that to Dallas? No problem. All right, it's coming your way.
Oh, man.
All right, we're going to take a bit of a break here so I can eat some of this wonderful stuff.
There you go.
Thank you, honey. You're the best. What's that? Yeah, of course you were just live on this humongous show here. Hundreds of millions of people just saw you. And they're like, damn, JP, you're the luckiest dude in the world. Yes, I am. Yes, I am. All right, quick break. When we come back, Scott Carter is going to join us from FloridaGators.com. It's our Jeeves Law Group Florida Gators Report. We'll talk some football, rehash a little bit of the Florida-Georgia game and where the Gators go from here. Stay with us. Quick break.
Any old coins sitting around the house? Well, the Golden Diamond Source will purchase a variety of different types of coins and bullion. Their gold buying program includes sterling silver, platinum, and watches. They also accept unusual pieces that other jewelry stores do not, such as gold bars and sterling silver flatware. The list of items they do accept is far more extensive than those they don't, so check it out. While you're there, you can check out the largest collection of any family-owned jewelry store in the country, especially with summer coming to an end. The holidays right around the corner. Never too early to start your holiday shopping, especially if you're planning on getting engaged or have any birthdays or anniversaries coming up. Come on in and find out what buying jewelry should be like with an expert staff of gold and diamond jewelry enthusiasts. And the best part, they treat you like family. And if you're worrying about price, don't. The Golden Diamond Source has something for everyone's budget. They even have a layup. You stop in and get your favorite piece now, you can have it paid off by Christmas. Plus, you can even finance your purchase with 0% interest for up to 5 years, and you can get a $5,000 diamond for only $83 a month. It's the greatest folks in the world, Julie and Steve Weintraub, the Golden Diamond Source, 3800 Olmerton Road, always online at thegoldendiamondsource.com. Hey guys, are you experiencing those feelings of getting older, lower sex drive, fatigue, hot flashes, moodiness, or you just don't feel like you had the vitality you once had? It's a chronic problem here in the United States. You're not just getting old, it's likely low testosterone. Studies over the last 20 years show a shocking decline in younger males aged 16 to 39. Older men have seen a sharp decline as well, so do something about it. Go see my friend Christopher Lugo at Bay Area Modern Medicine. Look, testosterone replacement is not a frivolous treatment. It takes a professional, targeted approach that focuses on total body wellness, vitality, and emotional stability, not a one-size-fits-all approach like many clinics use. They will monitor your blood work and adjust your treatment as needed for optimal results. Folks, I've been on testosterone therapy for over 6 years, and it is a life changer. You will feel and look better than you did 10 years ago. Give them a call at 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. Tell them JP sent you for priority scheduling. That's 844-977-3477 or BAMMC.com. JP here for the Jeeves Law Group, Jeeves. Call for a free case evaluation, 888-9-JEEVES. That's 888-9-JEEVES. We're local, we're trusted. The law firm brings over 80 years of combined legal experience focusing on clients in Tampa Bay, the state of Florida, and national class action cases. If you're injured, get that free case evaluation, no cost to you. The Jeeves Law Group's focus is on auto, truck, and motorcycle accidents, as well as class action and consumer protection law. Scott Jeeves is a board-certified civil trial lawyer and a certified circuit court mediator practicing in the Tampa Bay area for over 30 years. You hear him on the show all the time. Great guy, big Gator fan, and great for the community. The Jeeves Law Group is a highly skilled team with years of experience that will apply their skills, expertise, and knowledge to assist individuals who have been in an accident with compensation for damages, lost wages, medical expenses, pain and suffering, and property damage. Get that free case evaluation, 888-9-JEEVES. That's 888-9-JEEVES.
Coming back at you. Now, more with JP on FanStream Sports. It's only just begun.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show here on this Thursday as we get set for another big weekend of college and professional football. We're brought to you by the great folks at The Patio. That is the only place you need to go to watch all the great games, the Gator games. There was a huge party there for the Florida-Georgia game on Saturday. Didn't turn out like many Gator fans would like, but a great time was had by all at The Patio. So for tonight's Thursday night football, for Sunday, the Buccaneers on the road. Saturday, FSU, you got, I think they're playing at noon, I believe. Not exactly sure. We got to check that. But the Gators got a big game coming up as well with Arkansas. That's a nooner. So we'll bring in our good friend Scott Carter from FloridaGators.com with our G's Law Group Gator Report. What's up, Scotty? How are you, my friend?
Hey, guys. Good morning. Doing well.
You survived the outdoor cocktail party?
Yeah, I'm guessing there was probably some Gator fans drinking a little heavier than usual after that one because, that one started well. I mean, I was sitting there in the press box thinking, wow, okay. I mean, I was amazed. I mean, this just shows you where the rivalry is right now, guys. That was the first time since Kirby Smart took over Georgia that Florida had scored first in that game. So I knew that was kind of like, okay, this is a little different, but unfortunately for Florida fans, it turned out the same. And now they got to bounce back against Arkansas. I mean, this is a big game this weekend, guys.
Well, and it was easy, that first touchdown. They went right down the field. I'm like, oh, I was like you. Like, it wasn't just, that they scored. It's the way they scored. It was like, like a hot knife through butter. Yeah.
I mean, that was exactly what they could have asked for a better start. And Eugene Wilson, who we've talked about, I mean, he's a part of the future for this program. And you got a glimpse of him on that drive. I mean, he adds an element that Florida has not had really since Kadarius Toney. And unfortunately, it was just, Georgia, let's just face it, man. I watched the replay on Sunday and, I was just watching as we like to say, the trenches up close. And that's where that game was. They're just so much better in the trenches than the Gators are at this point.
Yep. And that's where it's all won and lost. But yeah, Trey he's a hell of a player, Gaither's own. And he is a big part of what the future is, as you mentioned. And that's what we said from the very beginning of this season, right, Scott? This is about the future. It's not about the now, but the now matters to the fans. And that, especially when they're rivalry games. And that was a tough one. How much do you think the fourth down call hurt the Gators? I mean, that was, first of all, I thought it was a terrible reversal by the officials. And I think that may have, definitely pissed Billy off. And it may have led to an emotional decision that perhaps he should not have made to go for it. And then I got to say, Scott, the fact that Georgia defended the play the way they did gave me some Harbaugh shivers, to be quite honest. Like, that was a pretty damn creative play. And they were all over it like they'd seen it before. I'm not saying, I'm just saying. But the whole thing was a debacle. And I think it really turned the game. What are your thoughts?
No, I mean, there's no denying it was a huge momentum shifter there, and it's been kind of the hot topic in Gator Nation, so to speak, this week. You know, I had no problem with the decision to go for it. I understood what he was trying to do at that time. You know, they scored first, and Georgia instantly grabbed the momentum. And that call beforehand, the pass to Khalil Jackson, that it looked like on replay that ball was, if not a first down, a little bit closer than they gave him on the
Oh,
spot.
God, yes.
So, you know, I understand, okay, we can't just punt the ball right back to him. We got to go out here and make a play because if we're going to win this game, you got to make some plays. I wasn't thrilled by maybe the play call, the trickery there, because I look at that game, guys, as summed up in a couple of plays. The failed 4th and 1 where, you know, they snapped it through Mertz's legs to Etienne, and Georgia did sniff out the play right away, which I think a lot of times that play is going to work. I mean, I like the creativity there, but then Georgia had a drive later where they were 4th and 2 at Florida's 2. And they just handed it off and went right up the middle. And it just shows you the gap there up front between the two programs.
Great point.
But, you know, like Billy Napier said, I mean, if that play had worked and Florida had kept some momentum and scored there, you know, he's being praised this week. When it fails, you get thrown out to the trash, I think was his exact word. So that's the life of a coach in a decision like that. Again, I'm fine with going for it. I wish that maybe you had the players up front where you could say, all right, Mertz, just go up there and pound it for a yard and let's keep this drive going. And unfortunately, that's just not where they are right now. And again, you said it best probably in your intro, JP. I mean, this is a season about a rebuild. Nothing's really changed there. I'm not surprised at all that they lost to Georgia, obviously.
No.
But I do look at this week as being an important game in the bigger picture because, you know, Florida, let's face it, they're going to be underdogs at LSU, at Missouri, against Florida State at home. They're going to have to get an upset to win any of those games. So you look at Arkansas, and this is their best chance to win a game on paper. Mm-hmm. And it also, you know, they could clinch a 500 record in the SEC. They could show some tangible signs of improvement. But if you lose the game, then it's going to get dicey in the storyline from here on out. That's where they are.
It's a great point. I mean, just because of the what's coming, and absolutely, and you know, but I think there certainly are some positives to take from this game, and I'll let you detail them, and especially, you know, Graham Mertz, I think, continues to play really, really good football. Is he got another year?
He does have another year of eligibility, and I know that internally they hope that he sticks around, and you know, he's a guy that I don't think he's got the arm that, you know, NFL people
I agree.
Woo over, but he's a really good college quarterback right now for the Gators.
Yeah, he would stay. I don't think he's coming out. I mean, he would stay, of course. And then you've got the hot shot coming in. I forget his name.
DJ Lagway. He's a new guy coming in. He's the future, and it's always good if you can get a guy who's the future and get him a year under his belt. 100%. You know, I know a lot of guys don't want to do that in this day and age, but I think they have such a good relationship with him that maybe that's on the table. So we'll see how that shakes out. But yeah, I mean, Graham Mertz has definitely been a positive for this team, no doubt about it. I think he's been better than advertised. He's done everything that they've asked. He's not been losing any games. He helped win the game at South Carolina. And I think Saturday is going to be an important game for him too, because with some of the deficits I think they have on the offensive line, I mean, if he can make some plays, that will be a huge difference for them.
Yeah. What's going on along the offensive line for Florida, injury-wise?
You know, they're finally getting healthy. You know, they've got everybody back really last week. You know, if Arkansas is not the defensive front that Georgia is, so I think that will help. The running game's kind of been a little inconsistent lately. I think they need to get back to that some and let Mertz play off of that. But again, they were down at Arkansas. They were down at South Carolina. I'm sorry, they were down against Georgia, at South Carolina. And, you know, they had to throw the ball more. But ideally, on Saturday, if they can beat Arkansas, I think you'll see it run first, pass second approach that they hope works.
Scott, I saw this. Oh, sorry, JP.
No, go ahead, Tim.
I saw Shamar James, of course, going down with the injury. I believe it was a kneecap, underwent surgery yesterday.
Yep.
obviously out for the season. Number one, how are they going to deal with that with the linebacker core? I don't know what the depth is there. And also, I mean, he'll be okay for spring, right? Probably.
Yeah, that was what Napier said after practice last night. They don't see any long-term issues for him. It's an injury that he actually had in high school. Now he's re-aggravated. But Shamar, he leads the team in tackles. He's a young player. Again, another one of these guys that if this goes like Billy Napier hopes, that we'll be talking about a lot the next couple of years. But without him, they've got a transfer from Ohio State, Taraja Mitchell. I think he'll get some more playing time. Manny Noonery, a guy from Houston who transferred in. So you'll see those guys play more than they have been with James out. The depth there, I think, is okay without him. But, of course, he's starting for a reason. He's a leader on that defense. He's a playmaker. It's always unfortunate when you're in a place where Florida is when you start losing some of your key guys. But that's part of the game, So we'll see how they respond Saturday.
I kind of mentioned it in passing, but I just wonder in this time of Jim Harbaugh clandestine scouting, has anybody talked about the fact that Georgia looked like they knew that play was coming?
Yeah, I don't think that's come up. Anything I've heard, in this day and age, that's on everybody's mind, right?
Yeah,
it's like technology is so good. You very rarely see a play sniffed out that quick. I mean, ETN got the ball and Mondale was all over him. So, but it hasn't come up. It's been one of those weeks.
Putting it out there. I don't know.
Yeah, college football gives us something every week.
Right.
This week it's been Harbaugh. Then of course the whole Dabo thing with Tyler from Spartanburg. But that one hasn't entered the conversation yet. JP.
Does Billy still take phone calls?
He does a show every Thursday night. They do the calls, but it's kind of like they screen them via email.
I would hope so.
But
But
that's part of college football that I love, and I hate to see that going away. I mean, because you were Florida State for so long.
I've hosted these shows before.
Yeah. Ballard's call-in show was like must-watch TV, man.
Oh my God, fantastic! I never did one. Did I ever do one? I think I did do. I filled in for Gene a couple times with Coach Bowden.
Yeah,
so I did do that, but you never had to work. Now there were some lean times there towards the end where there would some callers started to get negative. But as the host, you don't let Tyler from Spartanburg go that far. Yeah. You cut that stuff off.
But did you ever have a caller quote Bible scriptures on your calls though? I mean, come on.
That's right.
I never heard anybody go Proverbs 4:3 on me. I never had that. Now I've heard them quote a lot of different things, but not that. But so Billy still takes calls.
He does. Like I said,
how's it been this year?
I think it's been pretty good. I mean, I haven't seen anything remotely close to that. They're pretty low key. He splits the time with the player. I think Mertz is going to actually be on there tonight.
Oh, cool.
But if who knows if Tyler from Spartanburg tonight, he may call in. Who knows, man? I mean, he certainly.
I think it leads to some great moments. I've heard some great calls from Saban and on Feinbaugh's show. I mean, people are just nutballs. There are nutballs out there. They show themselves, but no, as a host, you never let them go that far. But I think Dabo took some heat for it. But for my money, I don't want my coach turtling. I want my coach coming right back at him because everything he said was spot on. Yeah, everything he said was spot on. I mean, shut the hell up, Tyler and Spartanburg.
Yeah, I thought Dabo won the call.
I did too.
Oh yeah,
and I didn't mind it. And a lot of people have thoughts on Dabo. He is kind of controversial at times, but in that case, I'm on his side.
Well, and when the transcript came out, you're just reading the Dabo part of it, and you're like, what a jerk! How can you treat a caller this way? And then we actually heard the call. We played the audio on Tuesday, and then we're all like, wait, this is what Tyler said? Well, yeah, it was all deserved.
Yeah, man. I mean, he rambled for 3 minutes before
longest question ever.
Yeah.
And I can't believe Dabo took it for that long. I mean, I'm like, how are they just letting this guy go? Wow, they showed him a lot of respect that he didn't show Dabo. But I think it's interesting that, and first of all, I love the fan interaction. That's fantastic. Mm-hmm. But fans have to be smarter than that, and they're not, and we understand that. I get it, but they have to understand. But I also think that Dabo has a responsibility to Clemson and the fan base and the other players. When you have a tool like the portal, you got to use it, especially when you're at Clemson, when that's such a desirable place to play. I mean, the facilities are second to none. You're in a great conference in terms of opportunity to win. You get, you obviously have the huge Power 5 stage. You have everything you need to move on to the NFL. Obviously, they put more players in the NFL, I think, than anybody except Alabama in the last 5-10 years. So it's why not use the portal when you have all that at your right?
Yeah. No, I agree. I think he probably won't say this, but he's probably one of those coaches who's had so much success in the old way, that now this new world's here, and he probably's been slow to adapt to it. I think obviously we've talked about Dan Mullen on this show. I think it really hurt Dan Mullen. I mean, there's no doubt Dan Mullen's a good coach, but I don't think he wanted to really be nose deep into this new world that you have to live in. And I think Dabo's young enough to where he'll adjust, or if he doesn't, they'll continue to falter. So I think he's at a crossroads in his career. But at this point, I'm giving the guy a break after what he's done at Clemson for the last decade.
No question. And speaking of Mullen, did Kirby make a little aside towards the Mullen as far as recruiting and catch me up to date on that part of the press conference?
Well, Dan picked the Gators last weekend to upset Georgia. So after the game, Kirby had a little fun with it. Says, I thought that was my friend, and then at the end of it, he said, yeah, but he's not coaching anymore. He didn't like the recruit, and kind of a little dig there at the end. So
wow.
But
he ain't wrong. He ain't wrong.
That's just what Dan's going to have to live with. Until it's over for it. But
that's it. Yeah, I didn't know that he picked Florida as a 14.5 point underdog. I thought Florida would cover, but Georgia's just they're better. They may be better than I thought they were, but but I couldn't agree with you more. This Arkansas game is huge because you got at LSU who's putting up they are putting up 40, 50, 60 points a game last week. And then Missouri is surprisingly really, really good. And you got to go on the road back to back, and then Florida State comes home. It comes in. So, the narrative could get really, really ugly if you lose this one. So,
and that's kind of it's unfortunate where they are in this season. But again, it's not really a big surprise. I just think you need that 6 win. I mean, there's a lot of reasons. The bowl eligibility. Again, you can at your 4th SEC win, if you can win, at least guarantees you 500, which is a sign of improvement. And really, when you're in a place where Billy Napier is, I think the key is you can sell improvement, regardless of how small it is, because he had such a tough situation they walked into. But if you go 5-7, or it's hard. So again, I think there's no other way to say it. It's just a big important game for the Gators on Saturday. It's a noon game, which they typically haven't played great at noon over the years. They're going to wear the black jerseys, which is a big thing up here in the Manga fan base.
Right. Yeah.
It's a little different, something they've never done. So we'll see if that gives them any extra juice on the field.
Hopefully it'll be cooler this weekend, which I think it will be.
Yeah.
All right, Scott, you can find Scott at Gators Scott on the X machine, and all of his work at FloridaGators.com. It's fantastic. We always appreciate you jumping in here, Scott. So we'll check in with you next week. Thank you.
All right, guys. Have a good one.
All right. Gators, Arkansas comes calling. That's a nooner. So get up early and head to Gainesville for that one. And they're brought to you by the Jeeves Law Group, JEEVES Lawgroup.com. Scott Jeeves, big Gator fan. I believe he was at the Gator Bowl. Probably didn't enjoy himself very much. When he came on preseason, he told me he wanted 8 wins. And I said, temper your expectations, my friend. That's going to be tough with this schedule. This is not a Michigan schedule. With Michigan schedule, they could get 8 wins. Easy. With this schedule, no. What a gauntlet. Because I'm looking at they're going to end up, when you think of it in terms of Michigan schedule, by the way, okay, just think about that. Mm-hmm. So they're going to end up playing, because Missouri's in the top 12 now. So, the Utah was 14 when they played them. Tennessee was 11. Show me a tougher schedule than this. Kentucky wasn't ranked, but as we know, they're a pretty good football team. I think they were 5-0, 6-0 at that time. How were they not ranked at that time? That blows my mind. Then you played number 1 Georgia, and then you're going to play number 13 on the road at LSU, Baton Rouge, probably be a night game, which will be bananas. Then at Missouri, November 18th, where it might be snowing, for God's sakes. They're ranked 14th right now. And then Florida State comes calling on November 25th. That is not a Michigan schedule whatsoever. That is brutal. That is a brutal schedule.
I would say just about every SEC team, and maybe even ACC teams play a harder schedule than Michigan over in the Big Ten.
Well, no, Georgia's schedule. Georgia's schedule.
Cream puffs.
It's a joke. I'm going to go back through this if I can find this. It didn't come up. Where's Georgia's schedule? Hold on. Yeah, because their non-conference was not very good. Come on, freaking computer.
So they started with UT Martin.
There you go. Yeah.
And Ball State. First 2 games of the season, and then South Carolina, UAB, Auburn, Kentucky, Vandy, and then Florida, and then they've got Missouri, Ole Miss, and then Tennessee before they finish the season.
All right. It's going to get a little tougher. It's going to get a little tougher, but the first part of it was a joke. So
it was.
but you look at these Big Ten schedules, and you're just like, are you serious? And people really think, oh, Michigan's the best team in the land. Are they? How the hell do you know? And the fact that they don't, have to play decent teams week in and week out, like a lot of other conferences do.
Right.
So, I don't. And then, of course, they always flame out in the playoff, which gives even more credence to the fact that the Big Ten is not what it appears to be.
No. And bringing those Pac-12 teams over isn't going to help it any.
No, it's not.
Not immediately.
Nope, not at all. All right, we'll take another quick break. When we come back, I want to play a little Todd Bowles before we get to Corey Long, who's going to join us at 11:30. Some interesting things from that press conference yesterday that we have to jump in on. We're brought to you by Bay Area Modern Medical Center, folks. If you want to lose weight, you want to get your immune system in tip-top shape, which is a pretty good idea. Get your nutrition right. Just get healthy. It's Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com. They do it the right way. They will spend an hour and a half with you, is what I got on my first initial visit, going through all your blood work to find out what works for you. Everything is individual. That's the way they do it at Bay Area Modern Medical Center. It's not a 15 minutes, get you in and out, one-size-fits-all solution. They really care about your health. So go to the website, BAMMC.com, and get an appointment through there. Back in 3. Stay with us.
Fitz the mortgage guy did it again. A listener heard his ad, was going to another big bank, but called Scott Fitzgerald at American Mortgage Services of Tampa, and Fitz saved him $618 on his monthly payment. Are you kidding me? Folks, that's big money. Rates are going up, they're going down, they're going all over the place. Scott will shop your loan and save you lender fees and get the best rates. Email him, scott@amstampa.com, or call 813-294-7595. That's Fitz the mortgage guy. Lots of stuff going on right now, and these rates are going all over the place. You need somebody knowledgeable in the market that will work hard for you and get you the best deal. That's my man, Scott. He's done 3 loans for me, done thousands of loans for local folks here, works with a lot of the coaches and players in the area. He's the guy. 813-294-7595, or go to scott@amstampa.com. Have any old coins sitting around the house? Well, the Gold and Diamond Source will purchase a variety of different types of coins and bullion. Their gold buying program includes sterling silver, platinum, and watches. They also accept unusual pieces that other jewelry stores do not, such as gold bars and sterling silver flatware. The list of items they do accept is far more.
Can I trouble you for a water?
They don't, so check it out. While you're there, you can check out the largest collection of any family-owned jewelry store in the country, especially with summer coming to an end. The holidays are right around the corner. Never too early to start your holiday shopping, especially if you're planning on getting engaged or have any birthdays or anniversaries coming up. Come on in and find out what buying jewelry should be like with an expert staff of gold and diamond jewelry enthusiasts. And the best part, they treat you like family. And if you're worrying about price, don't. The Golden Diamond Source has something for everyone's budget. They even have a layaway.
Yes, please.
Stop in and get your favorite piece now. You can have it paid off by Christmas. Plus, you can even finance your purchase with 0% interest for up to 5 years, and you can get a $5,000 diamond for only $83 a month. It's the greatest folks in the world, Julie and Steve Weintraub, the Golden Diamond Source, 3800 Olmerton Road, always online at thegoldendiamondsource.com.
JP here for my good friends at Italiano Insurance, and they did it again. Once again, Italiano Insurance stepping up with the best customer service. I was in a bind. My old insurance company, my auto insurance, jacked up my rates, so I called Charity at Italiano Insurance, and she stayed till 9:30 at night until she got my insurance done. And guess what? She searched all these companies for me. I didn't do the work. She did. Saved me $1,000 on my annual premium. $1,000, folks. That's real money. And that's what you get at Italiano Insurance. Great customer service. And here's another note for you, by the way, with hurricane season up. 40% of people in Florida are underinsured. That means if you have something happen during a hurricane and you need replacement costs, you're going to get 40% less than you deserve. Can't let that happen. Call the folks at Italiano Insurance and get them to help you out in both those regards. It will save you money and keep you insured properly. That's 813-877-7799. Great folks in the community, been doing it for over 60 years. Italiano Insurance, 813-877-7799.
Pure sports. JP is back on.
Welcome back.
FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by the great folks at the Patio. Go watch football there. It is the place to watch football each and every night, like Thursday night football. No more World Series, so baseball is done. Congratulations, Timm, big Rangers fan.
Thank you, sir. Still crying.
At the beginning of the show. So yeah, that's the place to be. It is the Patio all weekend long. Gator game begins at noon. FSU, I believe, is a little bit later on in the day as they go to visit Pitt before the big showdown against Miami coming up. Lots of big games coming up this weekend, and the Frankfurt game. I don't know. I may have to find out if the Patio's opening early on Sunday morning for the Frankfurt Dolphins Chiefs game. The biggest game of the weekend is going to be at 9:30 in the morning. So I'll find that out for you for sure. All right. So unfortunately, we got Corey Long coming up, so we don't have time for the Bulls right now. We'll get to that after Corey. But wanted to mention a couple things. First and foremost, we talked about the Bucs standing pat this week, and yesterday Todd did speak about Devin White and was asked about him, and we'll play this a little bit later on. But basically said that Devin White is playing good football. He'd like to see more splash plays from him, but he is allowing other guys to make the plays. That's just silly. That is just silly. And I don't it's hard for me because I love Todd Bowles, but you're not doing yourself any favors, Todd. Everybody can turn on the tape. Everybody knows what's going on. And to continue to put this guy out there and to continue to cover for him, it makes you look like an inept coach that you won't hold anybody accountable. And that's what your team plays like. So it's a bad look, like so many ways. Go ahead.
Does Todd Bowles have CTE? I mean, he was a player for a little while, right? Like I remember him with the Redskins back in the day. And
yeah, he was a safety. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's a chance, right?
I mean, but sometimes former players just, they're players coaches. And they didn't like being called out, and so they feel like it seems like such a 1980s, 90s mentality that you're not going to call out any players because I don't think fans were nearly as sophisticated and certainly didn't have access to the all 22 cams that we have now. And people are breaking down things all over. You got PFF doing grades. I mean, everybody, the fan is educated now, so much so more so than when I first started in broadcasting. Only the media had access to a lot of this stuff and analytics and what have you. Now everybody has access to it. Everybody sees it. Everybody knows it. Yeah. So if you're sitting there covering for guys that are playing awful football, you look like you don't know what's going on. And I know Todd Bowles knows what's happening. He knows what's happening. But why they continue to let it happen, and then you can answer that question. It's like, okay, tell me why I turn on the tape and I see a linebacker that has never defeated a block and is slow to react and is making tackles 9 yards down the field, is blowing past. I mean, all these things. Like, explain it to me. Why does he, and if you're explaining it to me by he's doing his job so others can do their job, no, that's not what's happening here. And please don't try to shovel that.
Is that even a thing? That's not a thing. Like, I feel like you just made that up.
No, it's like if you're taking care of if you're a defensive lineman, right, and you're taking on two, you're taking on a guard and trying to get in the way of the tackle from getting to the linebacker, you're probably not making the play, but you're disrupting the play, so you get credit for that. He ain't disrupting the play. When you're getting hit by a tackle and driven 8 yards back, you're not disrupting the play. Come on, coach, what are we doing here? You're taking on a blocker. If you're taking on a blocker and getting mowed out of the way, that's not helping anybody else make a play. You're actually getting in their way of making a play. If you beat the blocker to the point, which is what most linebackers with Levante David does, you read it quickly and get to that and play that gap, play your gap and make the play, or you defeat the block and make the play. That's what you do as a linebacker. Yeah. Or you cover the guy out of the backfield and don't run up on the quarterback before he crosses the line of scrimmage so he can throw it over your head for a 45-yard gain. I mean, just time and time again. And to sit here and keep shoveling this crap to the fan base and the media is embarrassing. And I think people lose confidence in the coaching staff when you do stuff like this. So I don't know. And maybe rightfully so. All right, we'll take a quick break. When we come back, Corey Long's going to join us. He covers the Bolts, covers the Bucs, covers college football. So we'll chat with him about Buccaneers, all things Bucs and Bolts as well. So they go back on the road tonight and open up at Columbus. So quick break. Back in 3. Stay with us.
Coins sitting around the house. Well, the Golden Diamond Source will purchase a variety of different types of coins and bullion. Their gold buying program includes sterling silver, silver, platinum, and watches. They also accept unusual pieces that other jewelry stores do not, such as gold bars and sterling silver flatware. The list of items they do accept is far more extensive than those they don't, so check it out. While you're there, you can check out the largest collection of any family-owned jewelry store in the country, especially with summer coming to an end. The holidays are right around the corner. Never too early to start your holiday shopping, especially if you're planning on getting engaged or have any birthdays or anniversaries coming up. Come on in and find out what buying jewelry should be like with an expert staff of gold and diamond jewelry enthusiasts. And the best part, they treat you like family. And if you're worrying about price, don't. The Golden Diamond Source has something for everyone's budget. They even have a layaway. If you stop in and get your favorite piece now, you can have it paid off by Christmas. Plus, you can even finance your purchase with 0% interest for up to 5 years, and you can get a $5,000 diamond for only $83 a month. It's the greatest folks in the world, Julie and Steve Weintraub, the Golden Diamond Source, 3800 Olmerton Road, always online at thegoldendiamondsource.com.
JP here for my good friends at Italiano Insurance, and they did it again. Once again, Italiano Insurance stepping up with the best customer service. I was in a bind. My old insurance company, my auto insurance, jacked up my rates, so I called Charity at Italiano Insurance, and she stayed till 9:30 at night until she got my insurance done. And guess what? She searched all these companies for me. I didn't do the work. She did. Saved me $1,000 on my annual premium. $1,000, folks. That's real money. And that's what you get at Italiano Insurance. Great customer service. And here's another note for you, by the way, with hurricane season up. 40% of people in Florida are underinsured. That means if you have something happen during a hurricane and you need replacement cost, you're going to get 40% less than you deserve. Can't let that happen. Call the folks at Italiano Insurance and get them to help you out in both those regards. They will save you money and keep you insured properly. That's 813-877-7799. Great folks in the community, been doing it for over 60 years. Italiano Insurance, 813-877-7799.
All right. Well, Fitz the mortgage guy did it again. A listener heard his ad, was going to another big bank, but called Scott Fitzgerald at American Mortgage Services of Tampa, and Fitz saved him $618 on his monthly payment. Are you kidding me? Folks, that's big money. Rates are going up, they're going down, they're going all over the place. Scott will shop your loan and save you lender fees and get the best rates. Email him, scott@amstampa.com, or call 813-294-7595. That's Fitz, the mortgage guy. Lots of stuff going on right now, and these rates are going all over the place. You need somebody knowledgeable in the market that will work hard for you and get you the best deal. That's my man, Scott. He's done 3 loans for me, done thousands of loans for local folks here, works with a lot of the coaches and players in the area. He's the guy. 813-294-7595, or go to scott@amstampa.com.
Let's go. Right now, back to the show with JP.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by The Patio, the best place to watch any of your college or pro football. You'll watch tonight and all weekend long under the stars and the palm trees, 421 South McDill. All right, let's welcome in our good friend Corey Long, who covers the Bolts for NHL.com, covers the Buccaneers, knows all things college football. What's up, Corey? How are you?
I'm doing well. How you doing?
I am bathing in the afterglow of another big FSU win. Looking forward
As
to
you should.
Against Pitt. God willing, no one gets hurt. And then my friends, the Miami Hurricanes, come to town, which I will be at that game next week. My first foray up to Tallahassee with my son and my girlfriend. So that'll be fun. How are you doing?
I'm doing quite well as well. It's were you happy with the college football rankings with the FSU being at 4? Did it bother you a little bit?
No, it doesn't. Those things don't bother me, especially since you got lots of games to go. FSU wins all their games, they'll be in the playoff. And then if it comes to a 1-win scenario, we'll start dealing with that when we have to. But at this point, FSU is going to be favored in all their games. They've got their destiny in their hands, and if they lose, that's on them.
Yeah, I don't think they have a margin for error, though. I really don't. I don't think they can afford a loss at any point over the next 5 weeks that they'll be playing football.
If they're,
unless all hell breaks loose. Obviously, if all hell breaks loose, then that's a different scenario. But if things, Ohio State's going to play Michigan, so there's one team. One team's going to have a loss there, and you would assume that. Washington will probably drop a game. There's just a lot of games left in the Pac-12 and a lot of tough games, a lot of quote-unquote 50-50 games. But, I don't know if they can afford a loss. And it's not necessarily their fault. It's just that the ACC has kind of crumbled around them.
Yeah.
The Clemson overtime win. I don't know if Clemson's even going to be a 500 team when the season ends. Now you got Dabo planting phone calls by, quote unquote Tyler to try to help himself not sound like as much of a loser as he's been. And Duke unfortunately, they faced 2 top 15 teams back-to-back weeks, just, had some injuries, struggled, and I think they can still, turn themselves around and look like to maybe squeeze back in the top 25 by the end of the season. But, right now they're out. So, and now it's on FSU not only to win, but they can no longer afford the lulls during games that they had earlier in the season, which they didn't have this past week against Wake Forest. It was a strong, full start to finish performance. But this week you got a Pitt team that got 58-7 last week. So you can't go in there and have a tough first half, and it's like, because now they're looking at everything. They're looking. FSU they're looking for a reason to put them behind Washington if Washington wins this week. So you gotta stay. They gotta stay in a kill mode all the time. And if Miami beats North Carolina State this week, that helps out a little. Playing a 7-2 team down the stretch, it gives you at least another decent win to fall back on.
I would agree.
And hopefully Louisville can stay undefeated. The teams of North Carolina losing to back-to-back teams under 500. It's like, come on, guys. What are you doing?
Yeah. Yeah, the ACC is a bit of a mess. I think you see that all over by the time college football is over. But I'm not going to skip over that little message you said, the planted call from
Yeah.
Tyler and Spartanburg. I was like, Tim, I think Corey might be onto something here. Like we were like, why wouldn't the host shut that down?
Yeah,
Why
there's
wouldn't
only-
Dabo shut that? Why would they let him go on for 3 minutes? And maybe Corey may be onto something here. A little false flag. Yeah.
It was a total plan, especially the way Dabo answered it and went to his little Mike Gundy. I'm 53. I ain't never lost. It was everything that he wants to say to the fan base right now that they're really struggling. I've won 2 titles. Y'all didn't win squat before I got here. And, he's not wrong. He's not wrong. And I say this, like I said, the Dabo Sweeney era was one of the more unexpected surprises. If you remember Dabo in like year 1, year 2, that guy wasn't lasting. That guy had 4 and out written all over him. Then all of a sudden, things got really good. He got some good players in it. I think, unfortunately, he mistaken good players with good coaches.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
Yeah. And it's always funny how some, there's different kinds of coaches. Some coaches really know it's all about the players. They know it. They're like, Bobby was great at that. And Bobby was a very good coach, but he was also, hey, I got players.
Yeah.
I got players.
Bobby wasn't fooling himself. And if we're going to be honest, and no one loves Bobby Bowden more than me, a lot of those wide rights and wide lefts should never have come down to a field goal. I mean, if we're being completely honest, his game management in the last few moments left a lot to be desired. So
I mean, you can go from 1987 until 2000, and you didn't have top 5 teams. You had championship teams. I mean, championship teams. Like you go to the 88 team, you go to the, like those teams that people know before the wide right squads, he had title teams, so
they were loaded.
Yeah, they were full. Yeah, they were stacked, and I mean, he stacked them for a long time, So yeah, there's some coaches that know it, but I think Dabo for a long time really thought that it was Clemson culture and not, Deshaun Watson and Trevor Lawrence that got that for him. And like, no, it was Deshaun and Trevor. Trust me.
I don't think you're wrong. I don't think you're wrong. It's funny when they run out of those guys, suddenly they get kind of mortal. But
yeah.
I don't have any problem with the rankings. This will all play itself out. But I do have an issue with Michigan and the fact that Boo Corrigan, my old buddy, who is now the head of the playoff committee and the NC State athletic director, said we're not going to consider anything that's going on at Michigan vis-a-vis the scandal, the cheating scandal. And I'm like, what? How can you not?
But that's not their role. Their role is to just determine. Their role has always been determine what happens on the field. I don't even think, and I mean, I think I guess they could take major injuries into consideration, but everything has to be field based because this thing is by the time this thing actually we get answers and we get judgments on this thing. I'll be 47 in a couple of weeks. I probably will be 50 by the time we get a resolution to this. I
don't need some NCAA investigation that takes 3 years to tell me what I already know, Corey, and what you already know, Corey Long.
It doesn't matter what we already know.
What those shenanigans were they broke the rules. Clearly, by looking at the record, it helped them. And they did a lot of stuff that everybody else.
Are they undefeated this year because Connor Stallions was sitting on the Central Michigan sideline, or because they got like 25 kids on that team that are NFL prospects? Really?
Then why are you doing it? Then what? Hey, I know this. They lost to Ohio State 8 straight years until they started cheating, and now they've won 2 years in a row. So
you know what? He was told to beat Ohio State. They didn't tell him how to beat Ohio State. They told him to beat Ohio State. This is the problem. Teams want to return to prominence, but don't want to pay the price to do it. All right. And Michigan had to understand they weren't Ohio State. Ohio State. They could tell Jim Tressel to go take a hike for some tattoos because they knew they had other guys out. They knew Urban was sitting out there begging to coach that team. They got that other guy. Jim Harbaugh was the last hope for Michigan. And the bottom line is he said, you know what? These people don't understand what it takes to win. I'm going to show them what it takes to win. And here's what I'm saying. To me, the fact that guy was on the Central Michigan sideline and no one recognized him, at a certain point, you got to just take that loss. You're like, you know what? He got one over on us again.
And he was wearing Central Michigan shirt, like colors and logo and crap.
Yeah, like he's wearing their gear. He's out there celebrating their defensive stop in the fourth quarter. My man is going all in on this. Right now, Connor Stallion should be in the Heisman race, as far as
I'm concerned. Oh my God!
You know what's going to happen? We're going to be 2 to 3 years into Jim Harbaugh's tenure as head coach of the Buccaneers before we get a resolution on this.
Yeah, exactly. So I can't think he'll take the job like Lance Leopold or someone's going to end up getting sanctions for something he had nothing to do with. So
listen,
yeah, I mean, for the longest time, and I don't think it's. Honestly, I don't think the Stein, like, it's not, to me, that's more gamesmanship than anything.
Oh, it's not when you're using electronics and you're filming people and that's why there's
change your signs. You know what? You remember when Damian Craig had FSU signed to the championship? You know what Jimbo did? He changed them, and they won. Change your signs. How about that? The kids, you have time to create the system. You can't make a couple of adjustments to it. Come on.
How about you just not cheat? How about that? That'd be good. All right, listen, I want to ask you this.
But this is America.
Yeah, right.
Whatever. Let's not. I'm sorry. He cheated. Ooh, cheating in college football, such a new thing.
Breaking news.
Yeah.
All right. So tell me about. No, I can't even get a clear thought out now. I'm just so despondent over this.
Derailed JP.
If Michigan is sitting there undefeated and FSU's undefeated, and they choose Michigan over FSU, I'm going to lose my freaking. That's all I'm telling you.
I don't think you got to worry about that. I don't think that's that. To me, the team you more want to worry about would be the team behind you than the team in front of you. To be honest with you.
All right. Yeah, maybe the Big Ten officials will just make it all right and let Ohio State win. We'll see. All right. So I want to ask you about the Buccaneers a little bit. Standing pat at the trading deadline when you have the worst running game. They don't go out and get depth at running back, or maybe even a running back that's better than anybody they have. They're not making any discernible changes in terms of personnel. Devin White. Does this bother you? That it seems like to me that Todd Bowles and this staff is just tone deaf as to where they're at right now. They've played some terrible football the last 2 weeks. Now they have a layup this week against Houston, so don't even start talking about that. But when they get back to playing real teams, it's going to be ugly if they don't start making changes. What are your thoughts?
I don't know if they have a layup this week against Houston on the road. I don't know. Houston's actually good at home.
Corey, you could play offensive line this week for the Texans. They have nobody left. Literally, they're 10th, 11th offensive lineman. If Shaq Barrett and JTS will even get a sack this week. This is how bad they are.
Wow. Well, all right, fair enough. Yeah, I wasn't surprised. I thought at the deadline I was more concerned about whether they were going to sell off a piece than acquire a piece. Rashad played okay against Buffalo, I thought. He had a decent game. I know he had a good game in the receiving game. I thought they didn't run the ball a ton. but when they did, it was okay. So I guess that was something they wanted to build off of, and feeling like they found maybe whatever role he's going to have is going to kind of be probably just as much in the passing game as it is in the running game. Again, with the running game, so many things have to go well, and none of them have gone well for them. Whether it's the backs themselves not finding the holes, which we've seen that happen at times, whether the blocking hasn't been there, tight end blocking. It's a lot of things. So, I'm not surprised they didn't do anything at the deadline. I'm not surprised. It seemed like you can kind of tell after at least I could tell after the last game, that they were kind of ready to, they were kind of being a stand pat mode. They weren't necessarily thinking along those lines of, being before the Buffalo game, even if they were thinking this is going to be the squad they're going with. I'm with you. I don't get why he continues to defend Devin White unless he just say, you know what, we don't have anybody else better to play in front of him. So that would be the best explanation he could give me at this point. Is like, hey,
you drafted a guy that's pretty good, at least had a great camp, but from what to keep protecting him and keep putting him out there, I think it kills your culture. Everybody knows what's going on. A couple notes on the Bolts as they embark on this road trip. They got Columbus tonight, then Toronto, Montreal. They got Ottawa as well. 3 divisional games, and I thought the last few games were some of their best, overtime loss notwithstanding, and that first period. But what are your thoughts on this road trip as they head out? What do you want to see?
You want to see them get some more results. I thought they had a really, overall had a good homestand. You get 8 points out of possible 10. That's a solid homestand. Obviously, they could have gotten more. You hold a lead against Toronto. You don't have the disastrous first period against Seattle, but I thought at times the team was playing better defensively. They showed, even in the Seattle game, they showed the final 2 periods they can knuckle up a bit after having a bad period. They just have to. They've had too many instances of having bad periods this year that have really, really hurt them because they've been giving up goals in those bad periods. They've gotten, as I pointed out, you can't ask for better than what they've gotten behind goal considering where they were. You lose the best goalie in the world. This kid has come in and played excellent. He just really played excellent goaltending. Right now, you want to see him get. Last road trip was a disaster. They can't go 0-3-1 again. They can't continue to have that sort of difficulty on the road. So it would be nice to jump out there, get a win tonight, get some confidence on the road. They've had a few days off. They should be a fresh team. The trip gets a little tougher on the back stretch, but right now this is a team that Columbus is kind of waiting in the wind. So it's a team they should be able to jump on and beat. And you want to see some guys really getting back involved again. I'd like to see I'm a little worried about 91. I remember, God, it was I think it was the San Jose game. He had like 11 shot attempts and just 1 on goal.
Yeah.
And it's just like, why is he missing the net so much?
Yeah.
It just, it's not like him. So then he's just kind of, other games he wasn't shooting at all.
Right.
So I'm wondering. Yeah, I'm kind of wondering if he's working through something right now. But you'd love to see the captain get going. I thought they made a couple of good line moves. I felt like we had talked. I had told you I thought they didn't really have a playmaker on the third center line. I thought moving Cirelli down there was the right move. I would have moved Stamkos to center, but they're bent on keeping him at wing, so that is what it is. But overall, I think I'd love to see him have a good performance tonight. That'll be the best way to come out of a really good homestand because they do need some wins on the road. They do need to kind of take some. I think they could take some of what they did during this homestand with them on the road and realize that they could play a lot better.
Agreed. And they, that's carrying over from last year where they weren't great on the road. They definitely got to fix that. All right, my friend, always great to catch up with you and give us some perspective on how cheating is where it's at in college football. So I appreciate that. I appreciate that.
Connor Stallions is a hero as far as I'm concerned. All right, he's a hero in today's college football game. That guy is a man among men. All right, he's out there trying to make a name for himself.
Celebrate the cheaters. Yes. Corruption. Corruption is where it's at, baby. Thank you, Al.
I'm gonna let you in on a secret. If cheating's been happening for a long time. All right, so let's just. Yeah, I know. It has been.
Okay.
So we'll be okay. We'll be okay because a Michigan staffer is looking at some signs. We'll be all right. It isn't the end of society.
Okay. All right. I got you. Thank you, Corey. Appreciate it. X at Corey Long, COREYLONG. He ain't wrong. I just harken back to the good old days.
Cheating's a thing? Like, cheating's a thing? Come on. I mean, this is unheard of. This is breaking news that college teams cheat, right?
Isn't it a little over the top, though? To be buying tickets and with your own credit card, by the way.
I mean, is it over the top or is it groundbreaking?
I guess it's just the fact that the thing that's most amazing to me is just how out in the open it is.
Yeah.
There was a SEC skits or whatever that Instagram thing is, TikTok. They did a nice little skit about him and how stupid they are. Like, here, take my credit card and make sure you use my credit card with my name on it, and use wear a staff shirt when you go out. Just like they didn't even give a rat's ass. They're like, yeah, we're gonna do it. We don't even care. But you can find out everything that we did. We're not even trying to hide it. Let me keep all this stuff on my computer. Let me it's and I guess that is where we're at these days. It's bananas. All right, I don't even think we have time to play any of the Todd Bowles or any of that, so I apologize to all you guys out there. What else did I want to get to today? Well, we did celebrate your Rangers.
We did.
That was fantastic. If you missed that in the beginning, you were out at Texas Live last night. That's what we want. That's what we need. A Tampa Live that here for our baseball stadium. I don't know if it'll come to fruition. I guess it's going to be St. Pete Live.
Man, it's an incredible experience too. And even when the games aren't in town, they'll sell the place out. Just in people like in a game watching party. Regardless of who it is, it's just a lot of fun.
Now,
bring some money.
Yeah, that's the other part of it too. That's fanflation. It's everywhere.
I had an ex-Major League Baseball player on my tab, so I got some help. But otherwise, I probably couldn't have afforded it.
Yeah, that's good. What, he doesn't pick up the tab? The ex-MLB play? Yeah,
he did.
Damn right, he better.
He had a couple of really good contracts. So
yeah, yes, he did. He did. If you didn't, Derek Holland, right?
Derek Holland, the Dutch oven.
Yeah, long. I don't even want to know why that's his nickname. I don't even want to know.
I think that's his Twitter handle now. Like, we talked him into it for so long. I think they just made that his Twitter handle, Dutch Oven.
That's fantastic. I want to get to some of the comments, which we have not done today, so I apologize to all you guys. We didn't have a whole lot of comments today. I don't know where you guys were today. We got to say a shout out to Lonnie. His indie team that he works for 7 years just sold to Mike Veck family and Bill Murray. That should be fun. That should be fun. Where is your team? I guess it's somewhere in Chicago or near Chicago. Is there an independent team in Chicago? You have the White Sox, and the Cubs in.
Is this a baseball team?
Yeah. Did I read the White Sox are moving north too with the Bears to Arlington?
They're trying.
Yeah, they're going to build another city building, another baseball stadium they don't need.
Just not in Tampa.
My Bobby Knight rant got some positive. Yeah, so you all of a sudden not an asshole in death. But it's funny reading some of the things that are like on Twitter after he died, and he's the greatest. This is like no, he's not. There was nobody on earth that liked that dude. He was such an a-hole.
Not even his family. Yeah,
that's right. Right. Can you imagine trying to do an opinion show with Bobby Knight? Lord Jesus, it would be like watching a long-tailed cat sit next to a rocking chair. Well, he got on some sports radio every now and then, right? At Texas Tech, and that didn't go so well, or it actually did go well.
It was great radio.
Yeah. our good friend James here. JP with Bulls at the helm. The Bucs will find a way to lose on Sunday. There's no way. There's no way you can lose this game. If they lose on Sunday to this Texans team, are you kidding me? They got to fire everybody. They got to fire everybody.
They won't do that midseason though, right? Like,
no, it's not the Glazers way, but they should. Not with all these injuries. All right, that'll do it for us here today. Our thanks to Gary Koch. Great interview with him, the golf icon, talking about the new Rogers Park short course, brought to you by the Tampa Bay's First Tee. Really cool interview. Go check that out in case you missed it. He had some really interesting things to say about the Ryder Cup. He did not pull any punches on that deal. So check that out. Scott Carter from FloridaGators.com. Great talk on the Gators. Big game in Arkansas for them this week. And, of course, Corey Long telling us that cheating is good. So
winners cheat.
Winners cheat. That's how it works. If you don't like it, shut up. Just go see your local and national elections. All right. Have a great day, everybody. We'll talk to you tomorrow.